She's a half-naked blonde woman that was found out in the desert where there are vampires and zombies. Seriously, do I need to say more? Welcome to the Complete Story Series, where I take trade paperbacks and single issues and I break them down into digestible bites to help you understand. Then I read it dramatically back to you, all alterations in the panels, text, and images are to prevent copyright problems, and all art is owned by its respective companies. Today we're going to be covering an IDW book written by the writer of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. This one is so far out there, I just felt like being weird today. Welcome to Fistful of Blood. Our story begins in a hot desert, blistering sun. An almost naked blonde woman is making her way towards a town. As she reaches it, some of the townsmen see her collapse. They walk up and they inspect her. But something seems a bit off with the men. They seem a bit hungry. They decide to have some fun though, so they bring her to the saloon. But before one of them can even get his pants off, our blonde reaches and grabs the gun from another man, and then without thinking twice, she starts to shoot everyone. One in the mouth, another in the chest, but they're not falling down. They try to tell her, hold on, but she keeps shooting while getting outside. She starts to walk through the dusty town and notices that someone is watching her from the barber shop. She continues walking through and she makes her way to the hotel of the town, where an old man fumbles to get his weapon, but sees that that's probably not the best idea. He tries to talk to her, telling her that he's rather fond of breathing, but she does not respond. She doesn't even say a single word. She just points her gun at him. As much as he likes seeing the blonde half naked, he starts going through the old lost and found box to give her some clothes. He then comments about her escaping the Von Bismarck clan, and while she starts to get dressed with random clothes that she found in the box, he starts to tell her about the town and how he's been here his whole life. This was a simple town until Hollywood started to make movies here and make it a tourist trap. After that, things started to change. The old man decides to get both of them something to drink, and that's when they see some old cowboys walk up. But they are different. One is missing a nose and missing some teeth. Another one is riddled with bullet holes. You know, the zombie-looking kind of guys. They want to hire her, seeing as she kind of shot them up earlier. Everything in the town was good for the Von Bismarck clan until the McDonald clan showed up and they wanted them gone. Our blonde just sits there looking at them, not even responding. One of the other men doesn't take that reaction too kindly, and he tells her that it's time to throw down. As the two of them start looking at each other, our blonde pulls out her guns and starts shooting at him before he can even aim. Blam blam, he drops his gun. But she doesn't stop. Blam blam! She does not stop until there is literally no head left to shoot, until his body finally drops to the ground. The original man asking to hire her puts his finger on the barrel of her gun, telling her that they want to talk more tomorrow, if she lives through the night. And then he takes the rest of his gang and leaves. As the night falls, she decides to stay in the old man's inn. The old man tells her that she doesn't seem like much of a talker, considering that she hasn't said a single word since she arrived and has been in all of these fights, and he leaves her to her room. This day has been a long day for our blonde, so she decides to start getting some sleep. But a shadow begins to cover over her, and a man with fangs begins to creep up. But before he can attack, she jumps from the bed, giving him a kick to the face. The two begin their fight, kicking and punching the man with fangs, and he finally grabs her and he pushes her down. But she quickly jumps back, knocking him over and grabbing her guns. She jumps back into the fight, firing over and over, but he stands there telling her that he is one of the McDonalds, and his clan and the Von Bismarck's clan are already dead. Just two different kinds of dead, like night and day. The man moves back in and he grabs her, but she still continues trying to fight back, shooting a hole in his chest. She then jumps back, shooting the nightstand leg, and before he can react, she grabs the lamp and uses it to stab in the hole that she created with her guns, electrocuting him. Then with one final push, she knocks him out the window. Then our blonde turns around to see a short man standing in the doorway, and he tells her that his name is Sean McDonald, and he is the one who leads the clan. He also decides that he's going to offer her a job, double what the Von Bismarcks offered. But this long fight has brought the morning, where Sean tells her that he will give her until sundown to think it over. As morning comes, our blonde sits out front, and the old innkeeper comes up to her saying how he's glad that she made it through the night, and he tells her about the two clans, the zombies, or the Von Bismarcks, and the vampires, or the McDonalds. They've agreed to share the tourists that come into this town. Some of them want blood, while the others want flesh, and she's kind of upsetting that balance. Now, he himself is not a zombie or a vampire, and he tells her that he has his other reasons for being here. The sun begins to come up over the mountains, and it lights up the old western town. That's when 4 tourists begin to make their way into the town, and the zombies start to get into place. The tourists traveled here to see where the movie Shanghai Showdown was filmed. The zombies decide that the couple are slightly bigger, making them extra tasty, and they begin to stage a gunfight to entertain this couple. Shortly afterwards, the zombies tell them to come over to Snappy's saloon to enjoy the food as a part of the show. As everyone sits around the table, the tourists begin eating, and the head of the Von Bismarcks tells them that they have yet another surprise, while signaling for the McDonalds to come so that they can share on the tourists. The clans, now showing what they really want from them, begin to close in, and then a vampire ninja kicks off one of the tourists' heads. While everyone is being eaten alive, the daughter of the tourist makes her way outside, and she tries to get away, saying that she can't die yet. There's so many places that she hasn't been yet, like like London and Paris. But the vampires really don't care and they begin sucking on her blood. Before he can finish though, he's shot in the head. It's our blonde hero again, here to try and stop the vampires. They complain about how long it's gonna take to heal this time, and then he tells her that she needs to hurry up and pick which side she's going to be on. The innkeeper tries to stop the blonde because now we can see the reason that he stays behind, and it's because his family is being held here. He waits for the zombies and the vampires to get done eating whatever tourists come by. Then he takes all of their stuff to the next town to sell it off. But this time, walking back, he sees in the saloon that our blonde is having a few drinks with the McDonald clan. And Sean tells her how they've been waiting for one big load so that they can move on out and go to the big city, maybe New York or West Virginia. The innkeeper finishes walking back into town, feeling like this is all his fault, and he gets interrupted by the zombies asking for 3 things from him. First, the money from the tourists. Second, why they haven't killed him yet. And finally, why is the blonde with the vampires? He tells them that he doesn't know anything and he makes his way back to his inn. And the next day, she wakes up and then goes to have drinks with the Von Bismarck clan. Their plan was to clean out the vampires and then head to Canada instead of the cities. But now it's time to wait. As the day turns to night, both clans get a letter from the blonde telling them that she has a special treat in the graveyard outside of the town. While the clans both arrive and are instantly at each other's throat, the blonde makes her way to save the innkeeper's family that was being held by the vampires. Seeing a vampire guard, she throws wooden stakes at him, one landing in his eye, and then as things begin to kick off, she begins unloading her guns into him until he falls in front of the window. After reuniting the innkeeper with his family, she goes outside for a smoke, and the clans come back to find out that she played them both. She then flicks her cigarette to a fuse by the zombies' feet, and they notice it, and one of them tries to stomp it out. Being completely outnumbered, the clans begin beating on the blonde, but just before they can finally eat her, a giant explosion goes off, blasting everyone to the ground. Our blonde seems to have vanished though, and the clans begin to fight, but they feel that it might be a better idea to stop the spread of the fire from the explosion. After escaping with his family, the innkeeper just can't leave our blonde behind, so he goes back to find her in rough shape after the beating from the clans. He then goes to get her some food, but is stopped by the clans, and as they try to figure out why he would come back, the cops show up from seeing the light of the explosion. The innkeeper goes up to the cops, and like always, he handles matters with the cops, telling them that he was just burning some brush that he left behind. However, the blonde managed to escape into the desert during all of this. Before anyone can do anything next, everyone sees lights, and it's a biker gang coming into the town. The gang looks around and they see the place is a dump now, and one of the zombies welcomes them by punching one of their heads off. As all of the bikers begin to see what's about to happen, they all take out their guns and begin shooting up the zombie. However, that is short-lived when the vampires fly in and they begin their attack on the bikers. The slaughter continues on the bikers as the vampires and the zombies begin to find some girls among the biker group. The innkeeper is off to the side sitting there telling himself that he deserves to die because he enabled all of this. There was so much bloodshed that he let happen. The vampires all creep up hearing him and telling him that they can make that happen. But before the vampire can take his bite, another explosion comes off from the hotel, knocking everyone back. And from the flames, we see the shadow of our blonde. We see that she has come back with way bigger guns than before. She begins killing everyone off from each clan with her new weapons. They seem to shoot lasers, and she hits a button and more explosions go off through the town, finishing off anyone that is still moving. Finally dispatching the last of them, the town is burning down and she just stands there. The innkeeper walks up to her in shock and awe. She saved them. She rescued his family and she killed both clans. And he wants to thank her, but he can't. He doesn't even know her name. She's never even said one word. And slowly, her mouth begins to open. And an ear-shattering screech comes out of her mouth. Suddenly, the ground begins to rumble and a giant begins to stand up from the ground. The giant calls out to the one who called for him. And seeing that it's Remy, the bounty hunter, gets a little shocked. But before he even has a chance to complete his monologue, she shoots him once, right in the forehead. Realizing what he's just been shot with, his head explodes. So the innkeeper tries to put it all together. She's a bounty hunter from another planet, and she came here to kill the giant creature, and while here, she managed to save the innkeeper and his family from the clans of zombies and vampires. And she still hasn't said one word. Yeah, that sums it up, he thinks to himself. And this is where he says goodbye. He thanks the blonde, known as Remy, and he hops into his car with his family to drive off. And Remy looks up to the sky at a floating spacecraft. Like I said, once I read this one, guys, I just had to tell this story. It was so insane. I'll put the link in how you can get it yourself down below, and I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time right here at Comicstorian. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at Comicstorian and Instagram at Comicstorian, and I'll see you next time.